It's not easy, but I think good thing don't come easy also. But I start to enjoy the reward to being a GU instructors. I bring good value to my students and other divers.
Off Gassing, a scuba podcast with host Nick Hogel. Jimmy Choo started diving while serving with the Singapore Navy during his 30-year career. Throughout this time, he was able to experience a variety of diving that the Navy offers. Moving into the recreational side, he started teaching with SSI before branching out to teach with different agencies. Never one to become complacent led him to start training and eventually become an instructor with Global Underwater Explorers. Training in Singapore, teaching ministers, ice diving, a close call, and much more. Please enjoy. Jimmy, how are you doing this morning?
Great. Very good.
Nice. I would ask how the weather is over there, but usually people are pretty far away, but you're just right down the road basically from me. So how is Singapore treating you right now?
Pretty good, hot, but no complaint. I love it.
Yeah. I hear you. It usually is the hot time of year this time of year, correct?
I think throughout the year it's always hot in Singapore.
Yeah. So, welcome to the podcast. I appreciate you making the time to come on. And my first question I wanted to ask you is, tell me how and why you got into scuba diving. Tell me about that first breath underwater. What led you to it? What was that experience like? Tell me all about it.
My first experience, my open water course is actually free, and actually people pay me to do the open water course because I started in Singapore Navy, NDU, the Naval Diving Unit. So I'm the chosen one. So when I first think about diving, like cool, Singapore is so hot. I think instead of being the army on the land, I'd rather be the army under the water. So there's a joke about it. First time they bring me to the chamber test, and they told me that they're going to bring me to 40 meters. And the chamber is actually located at the car park area. So I thought the chamber will really sink to the depth of 40 meters. So I'm so excited, and I choose a window seat. So when the doctor said, okay, chamber at depth 40 meters, actually I look out from the window. No, the chamber is not diving. So this is the first joke I had as a diver. Of course, my experience underwater is not so recreational because the instructors in the Navy are fierce. So they just want us to do what they want us to do, So just strap the tank and go underwater and do some training, some confident training, and so on. Yep, that's my first experience.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your time in the Navy.
I spent a good 30 years. At first in Singapore, I'm just a national service for 2 years. So after I graduate from the class 2 diver, meaning the combat diving course, a 6-month course. Then after that, I find that it's cool to be a naval diver because back in the 90s, naval diving unit is still pretty much classified. Not much people heard about it. And then after experience 6 months, I think it's cool because underwater, if you make mistake underwater, your instructor can't see you. Only you and your buddy, And divers are allowed to wear shorts, not like the army guys wearing the camouflage. So, and the pay is not bad. And on top of that, there's a commercial value, right? After the certification, I can be a commercial divers or instructors, something like that.
Did you know that, like, once you started diving, did you know that you wanted to be an instructor, or what led you towards that path?
Actually, I spent a couple of years in the NDU. After that, a lot of my colleagues, they all want to upgrade themselves. Some of them want to be engineer, they want to pursue their studies. And, I'm not that type of study person. So I think about it. If I sign up for accountant course or any other course, I might fall asleep in the classroom. So my interest is diving. So, okay, why not we go and be a diving instructors? So few of my friends, But a lot of my colleagues actually told me that, once to throw away, there's instructors out there. So it's very difficult to earn a living. But I think about it, I'm not going to be just an instructor. I want to be one of the best instructors in town. So I just go ahead with the course. So my first course is the SSI Dive Master, and then follow up by SSI instructor course. So that is my first exposure to recreational diving scene.
So when you were getting certified in the Navy, what type of certifications were they giving you? Is it a commercial certification or is it a normal recreational certification?
That's true. Whatever certification we get from the Navy it's not comparable to the recreational or commercial. So in SSI, actually, there's a conversion course called Experienced Diver Crossover Training. So regardless of how experienced you are in the Navy, you cross over as an open water divers. That's why we need to upgrade ourselves doing courses.
Okay. So you did the crossover and then immediately just wanted to go towards the dive master. Did you have to progress open water, advanced, rescue before you hit the dive master, I would assume?
No, because I'm the diving supervisor in the Navy. So the trainer allowed me to do a crossover to the SSI Dive Master. And then I have to do a ITC instructor training course with them.
Okay. And I don't know if this is something that you could talk about, but what type of things would you do in the Navy for diving? Would you, I mean, I'm not sure. That's why I'm just kind of curious. I'm assuming it's not recreational, but I don't know. So tell me a little bit more about that.
In the Navy, there's a selection test. Depend which group you belong to, either salvage or the combat divers. So how we do the selection is same thing. Go back to the chamber. This time round, I did not choose a window seat. They actually pressurize you down to 18 meters, 1/8, and then you breathe the oxygen, pure oxygen at 1/8 meters. This is what we call the oxygen tolerance test for 10 minutes. If you don't show any symptom about the regards to oxygen toxicity, you are chosen to be a combat divers. So I'm lucky. I'm the combat divers. So what the combat diver do? Basically, our job is no navigation from point A to point B, and we're going to put some explosive or some reconnaissance, break the defense. No, there's a lot of other mission. The main thing is to sabotage or get information from the other side. So this is our job. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That, I guess, quick question. So when they do that test, the oxygen toxicity test, how many, is there a huge drop off rate? Do a lot of people they do that test and then a lot of people don't move forward?
I guess only like 10 to 20% of them can't make it
Oh, wow.
because they show the symptoms. But again, to me, I breathe oxygen to the maximum depth of 18, and then after many, many years, I have an oxygen toxicity. One of the sign symptoms I have at the depth of 9 meters. So to me, I find that it's not so concrete evidence for that test. It's just a very rough thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So as part of the salvage divers, what do they do? I mean, obviously they're salvaging, but like if you can go into a little bit more.
They're going to maintain our Singapore Navy vessel, or in the event if before, I think 10 years ago, when there's a drowned body in Singapore, they are the one who go and salvage the drowned body. But now we pass it to our civil defense force to do the job. So basically, they are doing more like administrative kind of job. And also there's another department is more like to disarm the explosive to protect our seafront.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it's always fun, but it's different kind of fun. Like recreational, we go deep and we're going to go to the cave, go under the ice. I think that is cool.
Yeah. So as the supervisor, would you oversee both departments or was it just one department?
It depends where you post to. So sometimes we have a rotation from the combat side. Sometimes we are posted to the frogman school to train the tapo, we call it. or sometimes we are tasked to go to the salvage team to conduct some diving. That pretty much depends what is your qualification. If you are qualified to teach certain set or supervise certain things, you may call upon.
Oh, okay, okay. What would you say was the highlight of that whole part of your diving career?
I participate in some of the major events like MI 185, searching and recovery of the plane, right? We belong to Singapore, and then we are tasked to go there. I remember during that period, it's still Christmas days. So when we receive the call, immediately we gather the troop and then we fly over there to do the salvage. And during my teaching career in Navy, I'm honored to teach three ministers in Singapore. So some of them call me the minister trainer.
How did they like it? What did you teach them, just recreational diving?
Actually, I more like introduce them to like scuba discovery, that type of things,
Oh, okay.
and then let them know what the Navy diver is doing day to day basis. So it's quite cool because when I interact with them, I don't really feel there's a big gap. I still feel pretty much the same. I'm the trainer, you are my student. So it's really cool. How often you have the chance to tell the minister that, hey, that is wrong and let's redo again. And they really take your advice. So it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I would definitely think that would make a lot of people nervous, just to be like, I have to train this person. But no, that's awesome, man. So back to the recreational side of things, you became an SSI instructor because I would assume, just being the level of diving that you went into, there was probably a really high standard of training. So when you got into the recreational diving and you just wanted to progress, is that eventually how you found your way to GUE?
Yeah, because when I in the Navy, before I impart to this SSI, I always think that I know diving at least 80%. So when I come into the recreational world, and then I realize, like, hey, no, there's so much thing to learn. So it's like at 10 enlightenment, I have to find the truth of scuba diving. So after SSI, I want to know more about technical diving. I went into INTD. That's where I start to learn about recreational rebreather, technical diving. After that, I went to TDI, RAID. RAID is because of the Poseidon, the rebreather. So I go into RAID. I heard about GUE many times, but I don't see there's a need for me to do a GUE fundamentals because at that point in time, I'm already an instructor trainer from other agencies, technical diving. So I don't think there's a need for me. So how I commit to GUE is during 2012, I teaching lately about rebreather diving. So, rebreather is always very difficult, like back to open water to get the buoyancy right. But she showed me otherwise. Day one in the pool, she can show me the buoyancy and good buoyancy and trim. I'm like, wow. I feel ashamed of myself. I can't even do what she do. So after the course, I guess she told the husband about it. Baby, how bad is my buoyancy and trim? And the husband is so thankfully and invite me for the GE fundamental class. And he said, hey, Jim, since you have a free time, why not you join the fundamentals? If you don't learn anything, you don't need to pay. So I said, hey, this is a good bargain. So I see in the class day one, attend module one, module two. It's just a classroom session first. And like, wow, I should do this long time ago. I guess I did not inform my previous student the right info. So after the fundamentals, I changed all my training to GE style because I find that it's not the agency, but the system is good. I think it really make the diver very safe, so that I want to do that. And did I really think about being a GE instructor? No. Again, I heard from my friend, being a GE instructor is so difficult and it's very political within the community. So I don't even dare to think about it. So during my fundamentals, the instructor let me use the brand called Halcyon. So okay, then I kind of like the design because it's really catered for that type of diving. So I want to sell Halcyon equipment. So I told my friend about it, and my friend happened to know the business owner of Halcyon. And the business owner contacted me. Hey, I heard that you are interested to sell products. I said, yeah. But at the point in time, I don't really have a lot of money to invest to be a dealer. So the business owner, oh, no worry, let's come down and talk about it. So I went there to the shop. It's everything like it's been planned. I guess who I saw in the shop. I saw Mr. Gideon, the Mr. GUE in Asia country. So he asked me, Jimmy, I heard that you teach your classes like GUE. I'm like, oops, I been caught by him. I said, yeah. I mean, I'm very truthful to him that I really love the GUE system. I find that this is the right way of diving. And then he asked, see, you like it so much. Why not you be part of us? Wow. When Mr. GUE opened the door, I will come in, right? How difficult can it be to be a GUE instructor based on my experience? But you need to start off from Tech 1 first. You need to have Tech 1, you need to have dry suit. Tech 1. Since I experienced fundamentals, I'm very sure Tech 1 will give me more in-depth about technical diving. I said, oh, sure, let's do it. And then I go into dry suit and Tech 1. And finally, I doing the ITC. That is the most stressful time in my diving career. I attend the ITC thinking that it is going to be simple day. I'm the instructor trainer, so how difficult can it be? So during the training, regardless of what I do, based on my experience, there's always a feedback. It's always not good enough. So to me, it's like, it's egos, some of the ego issues and some of the, I always believe that I'm there, and yet I'm doing the very basic instructor course. I still cannot meet your expectation. So every night I go back, and my wife is always ask, why are you so stressful? I thought this is easy for you. I said, no. They like to catch small things, into detail, small stuff. And then, okay, finally, I took 3 years of my time to complete the GUE instructor course. Wow. It's not easy, but I think good thing don't come easy also. But I start to enjoy the reward to being a GUE instructor. I bring good value to my students and other divers. I really appreciate the training. So that's how I go into GUE. And currently, which tomorrow, I'm going to fly to Philippines to do my Tech 1 instructor evaluation. So this time around, when I do my Tech 1 instructor course, I have no stress at all. Actually, I enjoy the process because regardless how good you are, the trainer always try to make you a better trainer or divers. So they always have some feedback for you. So I trusted my trainer, Mr. Gideon, and I joined the course. So finger crossed and wish me good luck for tomorrow or next week.
Yeah, yeah. Good luck, man. That I'm sure. So you're saying that you're not stressed going into it, because I wanted to ask, like, how are you feeling going into it? But from the GUE structure, it seems that they really prepare you. So I would assume you're very prepared going into it. But is there a little bit of nerves, or are you pretty comfortable going into it?
I would say that I'm excited, not as nervous as before because I'm very sure my mentor and my trainer have prepared me well because it's not an easy training course. Because in GUE, the instructor training course, you need to internship, multiple internship. You have to attend ITC, you get signature here and there. It's not just add water and you become an instructor. It's a very long process. So if you're not ready, I don't think your trainer will tell you that, hey, you are ready for the instructor evaluation. So I'm actually go very prepared this time round. And of course, nothing is guaranteed in GUE.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I would only assume that you're going to do amazing at it. But yeah, I could imagine. Just, I know me, usually before anything like that, I always have a little bit of nerves going into it. So that's awesome that you're going in feeling comfortable. And you're doing that next week, you said, in the Philippines?
Yeah, it's actually 5th to 11 April before ADEX.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And then you're headed you're coming back home to go to ADEX.
Yeah, I'm going to do some presentation in ADEX and to get to meet all my friends around the world during ADEX time.
I was really debating on trying to make it to ADEX this year. I didn't go last year. I went in 2022, and I'm like on the fence because so it's the 12th to the 14th, but I leave to fly back to the States on the 18th. So I was
Ah,
like, yeah, do I really, should I go? And it's so close that I feel like I should go. And the lineup this year looks amazing. There's a lot
exactly.
of people coming.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're giving a presentation. Anything that you could talk about? What you're going to talk about?
I'm going to share about risk assessment. I find that this topic is very important to divers, instructors, and the business owner. I realize that a lot of diving accidents can be prevented if you do a proper risk assessment. So I'm going to share this and hope I'm very sure it's going to bring value to all the divers, all the instructors and business owner in our diving industry and make diving safer.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great message. So tell me a little bit. I have not done any diving in Singapore. Tell me a little bit about, and I know it's not, the destination that a lot of people go to, but I do know that there is diving there. So can you tell me a little bit about the diving in the Singapore area?
We have a few wonderful dive sites. One of the common dive sites will be Pulau Hantu. That's where all the divers go there for trainings. I know in our local water, the water visibility is not so ideal. The current sometimes can be crazy, but it's a good training ground. But I'll definitely say that it's not a low risk. I would say that it's at least a medium risk for divers. So the diver need to prepare themselves, have a good training, good foundation before they attempt to dive in local water or get a guide or instructors to be with them. So I kind of like our local training, especially during COVID. We can't go anywhere, right? That's how I developed new love for our Singapore dive sites. For deep diving, we have Pulau Jong. That's where you can go as deep as 50, 60 meters. I think maximum is 77 meters around there. So far, I've been to 55, around 55 to 60 meters. It's like night diving. We have the layer line because we need to come back to the tiny little island because we get driven away. We might encounter a big vessel, a shipping lane. So Singapore diving is, you need to have good navigation skill, good awareness. So GUE training is really good to prepare you to dive in this kind of area.
As a trainer, I've noticed that you'll travel quite a bit to train Indonesia, Malaysia. Where are some of the destinations that you travel to, and what are some of your favorite destinations to travel to?
Actually, regards to the location, it's pretty much choose by the student, and I advise them if certain place is not suitable for diving. I go to Bali. It's easier because it's offshore diving. Tioman not bad, but from Singapore to go Tioman, the problem is the traveling, go into the custom. Sometimes the jam can be massive. Or Philippines have a very nice sea and good facilities also. So normally I travel Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, and I hope can go to Taiwan. I like Taiwan food, so Taiwan Sea. I want to explore more about Taiwan Sea, and I like to dive in different kind of environment like cave or all this kind of stuff. So Subic Bay, because I like to teach wreck diving, so Subic Bay is one of my choice also. So it's
Oh, okay.
mostly in the Asia country. Hopefully after this year I can venture out of Asia.
Oh, I absolutely love the diving in Asia though. So I just moved here 2022, and I've been visiting quite a bit, since I was a little kid. My mother is from Thailand, so growing up we would come to Thailand quite a bit, and we're trying to make it more permanent out here, just because I've been coming here forever. So it's nice to kind of travel to the different areas because I lived in Thailand for a little bit, lived in Malaysia, traveled a little bit throughout Indonesia. So I'm curious because I actually haven't been to the Philippines a lot, and the only place that I've been to really is Subic Bay. So
Ah,
what other area of Philippines do you go to? Do you just go to Subic, or are there other areas that you like to travel to?
I've been to Cebu, Bohol, Puerto Galera, Palawan. I'm going Palawan hopefully soon. Malapascua. There's so many interesting sites. Tumakate. Yeah, so I got different friends. They own different dive center around Asia. So sometimes we just go for fun dive because besides teaching, I love diving. So now sometimes I don't even think that I'm working right now. I'm like enjoying my life diving around. So when I have no class, I will make arrangement to maybe go ice diving, which we just came back, or wreck diving, rebreather diving with all my friends. One thing good about, again, the jury is I don't think I can connect myself to cave diving, cold water diving if I don't come to GE. I will only be diving with wetsuit in looking at fishes. But now it's so much meaningful. I can do cave survey, put my interest and knowledge and skill into helping the aquatic environment. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, actually, I did see the ice diving trip that you went on. Was that your first time ice diving, or have you been ice diving before?
I've been there many times. I went to Korea
Ah, okay.
and also Japan. And recently, 2 days ago, I just do a cold water diving in Singapore,
Oh, in Singapore.
in our Penguin Cove in our bird park. Yeah, it's a job, but I'm prepared for that job. With all the dry suit, all the cold water diving equipment. So it's fun.
Tell me a little bit about ice diving. I've never been, and it's something that I want to do eventually. But tell me a little bit about preparation and the things to expect.
The key thing is about equipment preparation. You need the right equipment, like dry suit, undergarment, dry gloves, the hood. People like us in Asia country, we hardly have cold water diving experience. So to wear all those things, it's actually quite stressful. If you straight away from 30-degree water and jump to sub-zero water, it's very stressful. So my advice to you is first get used to it. Instead of straight away jump into ice diving, you should go and dive the water around 20 degree, 10 degree, and then slowly build the experience to go into sub-zero environment. Get used to the equipment. It's totally different with dry glove, with thick undergarment. Example, in Asia country, I only use 3 kilo because my undergarment is so thin. But in Hokkaido, I use about more than 10 kilo of weight. It's totally different. Yeah. And to clipping or the boat snap is different because you have dry glove. So my advice to you, progressively, maybe you should go Korea, about 10 degree water first, and then you go to ice diving.
And then I wanted to ask about rebreather diving. Is that something that because I know a lot of people that come out of the military, they'll actually dive rebreathers in the military. How was your path into rebreather diving? And you said you were diving on the Poseidon.
The first rebreather I bought is Megadon from ISC Megadon, because before I buy a rebreather, it's a very expensive investment. So I Google around and ask my trainer which rebreather I should buy. So I see at the point in time, Tom Mao is using a Megadon. So I guess that must be the right one. So I have a Megadon. Then I do the trainings. And then later part, they say, hey, this is a smart rebreather, the Poseidon. And there's a business possibility. So, okay, let's go to try the Poseidon. So Poseidon is actually designed for diver. You don't need to spend so much time in training because it's fully automatic. That is my second rebreather. Third rebreather, I'm a bit struggle for my third rebreather because as a GE divers, GE only approve JJ rebreather as an electronics rebreather. But to me, JJ rebreather is so big and so heavy, and it's not easy for me to travel. And I like to have minimum changes to my current equipment, like single tank or back mount. So recently I chose the Dive Right Optima chest mount rebreather because of its weight and it's so versatile. I can just hand carry to the plane, and it's not going to cost me a lot of weight. So yeah, now I'm using the Optima. I really love it. And I'm looking forward to ADEX. I think there's some new equipment from Hoshon, a new rebreather. So I'm quite excited. It's smaller and wireless. So, it's like iPhone 14 or 15. So it's something new technology, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was just about to ask if you've been able to look at the new rebreather, because I know they just from Halcyon they just premiered it or showcased it at the dive show in Paris, I think. And so you haven't actually had a chance to see it yet.
They sent me photos about the rebreather. I haven't touched it yet, but during A-Labs, I will touch it and hopefully I can dive with it soon because after A-Labs, we are going for some diving together. So I'm able to feel how the rebreather works. I'm very sure it's a good product.
I have definitely been a fan of Halcyon products for a long time. And I think if they put their name on it, then it's going to be a solid product. So I'm very interested to see what is going to become of that. Question: how did you find going from? I am not a rebreather diver myself. I'm actually a little bit later this year going to be training on a rebreather, and I've done a few try dives on a rebreather. But how did you find going from a back mount to a front mount unit? Is there a lot of how did you find that?
To me, it's not much different because I love it. Because in the Navy, I've been diving 30 years. Rebreather is mostly chest mount. So to me, it's
Oh,
easy. So it's just slap on. Yeah.
what chest mount is there a unit that the Navy or brand or unit that the Navy goes with, or is it kind of their own built unit?
In the early days, we're using the Dragger, La5. And then, of course, along the way, they progress to other rebreather, mixed gas rebreather, semi-closed. And then they go into electronics rebreather and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Do you prefer mechanical over electronic?
I like hybrid. I like electronics rebreather. So as an electronics rebreather, you can use it as mechanical. It's the same. So I like option and I like technology. So, but as a diver, rebreather diver, you need to understand the system very well. So when it malfunction, you should able to switch to manual or mechanical. So there's always a saying for rebreather. The rebreather have no brain. You have to use yours. Another saying is if you give the rebreather a chance, the rebreather can kill you. So I advise those people who want to. It look cool, but you need to have a very solid foundation before you go into rebreather diving.
I had a question. So you said that you did some cold water diving in Singapore, and it was for work. Is that commercial diving, or do you what type of diving were you doing there?
It's a very simple job. It's just taking photo of some damages in the aquatic area, in the bird park, the dolphin, no, not dolphin, the penguin enclosure. So they want the contractor want us to take pictures, do a check, see whether the aquarium got any problem. So we get to test out our equipment at the same time. And the reason they find us, I guess, because we have experience in cold water diving.
So a while back, I did a series on GUE and some of the misconceptions that people have
Mm.
going into a GUE course. So when somebody contacts you to say, "Hey, I want to take a GUE fundamentals course," or "I want to take a course," what are some of the questions that they ask you, and do you have to debunk any myths saying like when someone contacts you, what are some normal questions that they ask you?
If I think one of the common thing they ask, must all the equipment be Haoxiong? Second question they ask, must it be all black? So I said, no, it's not. So my job is to educate the public about GUE because before I become a GUE diver, I have misconception about GUE too. GUE diver are very proud people. They don't like to dive with you. They don't really want to talk much about GUE things. And after being a GUE diver and instructor, I start to realize why. Because it's very inconvenient. Because we spend so much time in training and protocol, everything is standardization. So sometimes if you want to share with a non-GU diver, it take a lot of time. And worse, when we tell them they don't understand and then sometimes they don't believe it. So it's not easy. So my job is right now is to educate more divers about the value of GU systems.
Do you find that difficult sometimes? Like how do people receive that? Do some people do they like it? Do they not like it? Because I know me, when I kind of first started hearing about it, I don't want to say turned off. I think that's the wrong word, but I was very misinformed. So I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
this is the way they do things. I don't want to do it that way. So how do you find that they receive that information?
I guess I'm a good salesman. But what I tell them is my true experience in diving. Before GV, I have a near miss accident, or I'm lucky, I'm still around. About gas, no, run out of gas. Me and my buddy so poor awareness when diving, doing technical diving. So I share with them. I take myself a true story and share with them. So most of the time they buy it, and I show them videos about before and after the fundamental class. 99% they will be buy over. They will do the trainings, or sometimes they want to do technical class. I will ask them. No, I don't teach diver who want to technical class or rebreather course without a fundamental course or certification, because I find that it's impossible. They don't have good foundation. They can't go rebreather or technical diving.
So I'm just curious, what's the story that you share? You almost ran out of gas at one point?
Yeah. I guess you heard about this HMS Repulse.
I have not actually. Yeah.
Okay. It's a big shipwreck. It's a war military vessel in South China Sea. Singapore, we used to have many live on boat and we go diving. It's a in thing. As a technical diver, you should dive there. It's like 55 meters there. So one of the dive trip, we went there. At that point of time, I used air as a double tank. I carried two 5.5 liter Deco bottle, like 150, 100. And first dive, everything goes smoothly. Nothing happened. I think I only used 50 bar from my 50%. And oxygen, I just go to the Deco bar, it's free of charge. So I don't even spend any money. And I using air. Air is free. So I use the wanted rules. So after the first dive, I think I tell my buddy, hey, I think it's not going to make sense to go down just for a short time. Let's change. Let's do half rules, like a recreational diving. And instead of carry the 100% oxygen, I say, hey, no need, don't even need to bring that because we have the oxygen at the Tico bar. It's free. And 200 bar, I use 50 bar for my Tico 50. I still got 150 bar. Should be enough for my second dive. So we just go diving. And after spend 100 bar at the propeller area, I say, okay, time to head back. But at the point of time, I think the visibility is getting poor. So I did not aware the ascent line. So by the time I realized that I missed the ascent line is when I see the bow of the shipwreck. Like, wow. Because the shipwreck, the length of the shipwreck is 250 meters. So I have overshot 125. But then when I want to turn back, the current pick up. And I look at my back gas. I think it left less than 100. I think maybe 70 or 50. And then okay, no choice. We deploy SMB and drift. Another mistake. So we go ahead with the Tico, but because we prolong the time, underwater time, our Tico increased. So the 150 bar inside the 5.5 liter tank is not enough anymore. So I guess if I don't remember wrongly, about 12 meters or 9 meters, the whole nitrox 50 is empty. So we have to switch back to our bad gas. And I look at the SPG. Every breath I take, the needle move pretty fast. So we run out of gas. Both of us run out of gas at the depth 9 meter or deeper. And we have to do a CSAR during a technical dive. Wow, that is scary. So, I try to get myself composed. Lucky on board the ship, they tie a line to our SMP. And then we have to pull ourselves back to the boat. So along the way, I think, hey, what I'm going to do? Once I reach there, I'm going to hold my breath to 6 meter to the Tico bar and breathe pure oxygen for 45 minutes. I don't have a sheer water at the point in time. I just guts feel. So I just put the oxygen for 45 minutes and rest of the day I just monitor myself, hydrations, and lucky I don't have symptoms. So after that dive is a very big self-reflection about why it happens. I'm just lucky. So I find the answer when I enrolled to GUE class. First fundamental and then followed by a type 1 class. So I know where is a mistake. Because sometimes when people make mistake, they are being misinformed or it's an ego issue. No, it will not happen to me. I will do these things. So yeah, so after all the training experience, now I can inform the divers, hey, this is not right. Don't be like me. So normally people believe you when you share with them the true story, not from the book, true stories. So yeah, this is what I'm sharing with my students or the diver I met them if they trust me.
Oh no, thank you for sharing that story because that's a story that a lot of people I don't want to say a lot of people, but that's definitely a story that some people wouldn't share. So for you to share that, that's amazing. And then for you to want people to learn from that incident is huge because a lot of times people wouldn't share that story. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure that's a turning point for a lot of people being like, oh wow, somebody this experience can make a mistake, but he owns it and then got better from it. You improved from it, and I think that's awesome. The repulse that's off of Malaysia, isn't it? The
Yes.
repulse, northern Malaysia. Okay, yes, I have heard of that, and I'm not qualified to go to those depths, but I'm hoping at some point I would like to go and visit that wreck because there's a couple of wrecks up there, I think.
Prince of Wales and Repulse. Prince of Wales is 67 meters. Hopefully is untouched because, recent year the salvagers go and get something from the wreck. It's heart pain. To them, it's money. For us, it's a piece of art.
Yeah, because I saw something in the news, I think sometime back
Time's
where
up,
they were
yeah.
doing a lot of salvaging over there.
Yes.
So, just a random question, but if there was an unlimited budget and you could go anywhere and dive, what is like your bucket list destination? Do you have like a top three places that you would want to go dive anywhere in the world?
There's so many places. I want to go back to Truck Lagoon again with my rebreather. I love shipwreck, so I want to travel around to go and explore more shipwreck in European country because I'm prepared for cold water diving, rebreather diving. I have the DPV now, so with all this, I should able to enjoy more about shipwreck, to know about the history. It's wonderful.
So I'm curious because Singapore has been such a major port for so long. Are there many shipwrecks in Singapore to go see?
Even there's a shipwreck is kind of in a very busy ship lane, so you can't dive there. I think one of the biggest shipwreck is near to the Strait of Malacca. Is a Sun Vista cruise. So I almost have an opportunity to dive there, but I just missed a chance. And I guess if you hear the news, there's a very old shipwreck found in near to the Hospital Lighthouse, if I'm not wrong. So they found this like maybe 100, 200 years ago. I'm not too sure about it. I think it's in the news. So the department, the museum department or archaeologist department, they go and do some salvages about the artifact. It's in the news. You can check it out.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I would also think that there I mean, I know the visibility is not great, but in the Malacca Strait, I would think there's just plenty of shipwrecks, but I don't know if they're salvaged, but I mean, that's been such a route for so long that there has to be just tons of shipwrecks. Because I've heard I don't know because I've never done any diving and I'm not sure if you know, but I live in the Penang area and I've
Uh-huh.
heard that there are a few shipwrecks, but the waters are just people don't really dive. But I want to say that there's been an expedition or somebody came down here
Mm.
because there's a few shipwrecks, or I've seen video. I can't quite remember, but I've tried I've tried to get people to be like, hey, let's just go out and we'll go explore around the
Yeah.
island around Penang. But it's not many people want to take that up because I get it, a lot of recreational divers, but also if I'm about to go in the water with somebody, especially around here, I would want to feel very comfortable with
Mm.
them being like, hey, if something happens, because there is no I hate to say there is no diving, but the people that I've been like, hey, let's go diving, they're like, let's go somewhere else. So
Let me know. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think that would be if you ever want to come up here and do some diving, let me know because I definitely am very open to it. But I'm still working because I think the ship I heard or saw that there is a shipwreck, but it's in I want to say about 60 meters of water,
Mm.
obviously of water, but 60 meters is where the a shipwreck is. But other than that, I have no information, coordinates, or anything like that. But
Okay.
I'm sure the community can band together and might be something worth checking out.
That will be interesting.
Yeah. So my last question for you before I let you go is somebody that wants to take a fundamentals course and they're thinking about taking a fundamentals course. What is the best piece of advice you could give to that person to go into the fundamentals course?
Be patient with themselves because a lot of divers that come to the course, they get impatient after 3 days. And I see so many times because some of my students, they are instructors, instructor trainer, or experienced technical divers. So when they come to this class, they get angry with themselves. I say, hey, look, let me do my job and share with you where can you be better. Be patient with yourself. So sometimes you can see grown-up men to behave like a little boy because they are impatient. Or some of them, when they don't get a pass, they get disappointed. A child, our job is to be truthful to you, honest feedback to you, to make your diving safe because we have to be responsible for our loved one when we go diving. So the keyword is to be patient and be open-minded.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure because I know that. Well, one, that's amazing advice, but I have seen that too. There is a big perception, or a lot of people when they come into a course, they think like, oh, because I'm paying, I should be getting a certification afterwards. I do see that quite a bit, and that is I feel like a misconception throughout just the whole industry is like, oh, here's my money, where's my certification card? And it's like, no, this is something. It's you're paying to train, not paying for certification. And a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, but there are people out there that don't get that concept. So I think that's absolutely amazing advice.
I do encounter some of these kind of cases once a while. Lucky, not many times, but once a while I do encounter people in this kind of mental state. It's very discouraging.
Yeah, and I definitely in the recreational world I would see that a lot, and it's something that needs to change for sure. And actually, I apologize because I didn't ask this. Do you go by Jimmy or Jim?
Jimmy Choo,
Okay,
the shoe brand.
yeah. But earlier you said something when someone's like Jim, so I didn't know. I should have asked at the beginning, but Jimmy, I absolutely appreciate you coming onto the podcast, and I really hope that we get a chance to meet each other. We're super close, so eventually I'll have to come down and meet you, or if you ever make it up to Penang, let me know.
Sure.
Yeah, so it would be great, and but thank you very much. It's been amazing to hear about your journey and to hear more of your insight on the podcast today. So thank you very much for coming on.
My pleasure. Have a good day.
Off Gassing, a scuba podcast.